Hey everybody, Tim here for today's episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 4, Memento Mori. So, I liked it. It's gonna sound like I don't, but I did. I did like it. I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a little standard Star Trek though. So when you look at something like The Next Generation, for example, I love that like almost Shatner pause there. When you look at something like The Next Generation, which I said this, I think, in a different one, where they had like 26 episodes to breathe. So good episodes, bad episodes, like episodes that didn't even make fucking sense. But like every character kind of had an episode. So this felt like a Next Generation episode to me. The good thing about The Next Generation is there's fucking classic, what is it, like Chain of Command or whatever, where it's like they're all full of lights and like it's brilliant. It's brilliantly written and it's so dramatic, or like The Inner Light where you just want to cry at the end. But The Next Generation also has other episodes, like especially the Q episodes where I am not a merry man, or like the Fistful of Datas, where Data just plays everybody in the brothel. So stuff like that. There's highs and lows, and there's everything in between. Serious comedy, blah blah blah. So for this definitely, the previous episodes felt not comedic, but they felt a little lighthearted. Whereas this was rough. Like this like 7 people died by the end, which I mean, that's like, again, look at Voyager or The Next Generation and stuff. It's like, oh, it must be Tuesday. But it was a little bit rougher. It was very dark. The opening, especially the opening sequence, was very like, oh, we're on a supply run. And it just, I don't know, this episode just felt like you could have taken me and said like, oh, this is from like 1998, and I would have been like, okay, I believe that. So, which to me is good. Like, I actually, that's the stuff I prefer. That's the grounded Star Trek that I prefer. So I really like it. The whole Gorn baiting them into saving a ship, but they can't like teleport out, so they have to use the bridge, whatever, the transport tube, whatever. I was like, I mean, that's smart. I get it. And I was like, okay. The thing about this episode that I like, I'm not even like, it's not that I had trouble with it. I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. Is the Gorn. Because, so, what is it? Arena, I think, from the original series. Arena's great. Arena's a classic Trek, the original series TOS episode. But to me, the Gorn should have kind of been like a one and done. And the fact that the Gorn have repeatedly come back, especially in Enterprise, I don't know what the fuck that was. But, so to me, the Gorn, what I worry about for the Gorn is kind of the Ferengi. When you go back to The Next Generation, it's like, oh, nobody's ever seen a Ferengi before. And it's like, oh, okay, so what are they? And then we see them, and you watch that first Ferengi episode, they got their little whips, and they're like, that's not that scary. And then by the time you get to like The Next Generation, it's like, oh, they're actually just like these weird like money grubbing whores. Like, don't worry about them. Oh, why were we ever scared? So it's, the Gorn is almost the Ferengi, but in reverse. Like, I can already tell just by this episode, like, we're gonna see the Gorn. And they're building them up so much. And it's like, okay, so by the time we get to Kirk in Arena, again, nobody's ever seen the Gorn, but I'm sure they'll ruin that somehow. And it's just like, why does that need to be a thing? Why do we need to build the Gorn so much? Like, I understand, like, there's Romulans coming down the line from what I know about the original series. And, like, there's so much other stuff. Why the Gorn? And especially when Leon, where she's like, she says something like, it's the Gorn. It so much reminded me, like, the way she looks in the camera and the way she addresses it, it's so much like Picard, like, we've engaged the Borg. And it's just like I don't know, it was a little bit over the top for me. The thing that I did like was, again, Leon pretty much saved this whole episode, where she says something about enemies can be our friends. It's a lie. And I was like, that's good. Because again, I've said this in many reviews. The original series, Klingons were the big bad. So what did the Next Generation do? We get Worf. And then, like, Ferengi were the big bad, kind of. And they were like, okay, fine, we get Quark. And then they're like, but you know what? Actually, the Borg were the big bad for the Next Generation. Okay, fine, we get 7 of 9. And each time, they've been like, here's a big bad. Just kidding, now they're part of Starfleet. And I was like, well, you know, because I've been jumping all over the place, I don't think we've seen a Gorn in Starfleet yet. So it did, like, just the way she was like, oh, they could be our friends. No, that's a fucking lie. And I was like, that's true. We have not seen the Gorn cross that threshold yet. So that was kind of fun. This could be me / the alcohol projecting a little bit. But when they were like, oh, the lower decks will be the first to take structural damage. And I was like, wait, wasn't this on at the same time as lower decks? And like, far, like, I love lower decks, but like far, like, exceeding them. So I was like, is that a reference to lower decks? I mean, granted, it would be the lower decks that would be getting crushed, but I was like, is that a reference to the TV show? So I don't know, little things like that. I was like, oh, am I thinking too much into this? What's happening right now? But I still like it. And again, they did the exact same thing the next time, where when one person died, because I think it was Mr. Kyle, couldn't save him, and Pike was like, oh, why did I make this call? And Spock was like, because you knew the others had to be saved. And I was like, just say the fucking line. Like, we all know you're about to, well, the lives of the many outweigh the lives of that dude. Like, just say it, like, at this point. So, at the same time, we do see the mind meld. So this had a lot of great little references to others. So far, this show has been, like, nothing but fucking Easter eggs. And we're only, like, 4 episodes in. Seeing Leon on the breeding planet was a bit dark. It kind of reminded me of Terminator. Again, could be just the drunkenness. But it really reminded me of, like, especially in the I think it was the first Terminator, the flash forward scenes of, like, little young Reese Kyle. And I was like, oh, that's kind of what this is. I liked it. I'm still enjoying it. Even this, to me, this might be the lowest episode so far, which, I mean, we're 4 episodes in, but it still had a really good punch. It had a really good, dramatic, almost borderline horror type feel to it, and I'm really digging the show so far. So I'm kind of curious what you guys did think 5 years ago, when I'm sure the rest of you watched this. So let me know what you guys think. Please like, subscribe, comment. I like to engage with people. Let me know, and I will see you guys next time for... I will see you guys next time for Amok Time.